Welcome to the Geek Easy Fellow Geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today we are having another episode of Frightful Fridays. The movie we will be reviewing, or I will be reviewing today, is called Campfire Tales. It is on Amazon. It is rated R. It's about an hour and a half long. It is an anthology of tales. And just like the title suggests, it is some stories that are told around a campfire. The setup for this movie is, okay, it starts out with a real quick short of a guy and a girl, James Marsden and Amy Smart. They're playing a couple of teenagers at make-out point, and you hear on the radio that some guy has escaped from a lunatic asylum, and the girl gets nervous, and they leave. And if you've heard the if you've heard the legend, you understand what happens on that one, and it's short. But then it switches to the main part of the story. Is there's a group of teens driving down the road. It's off the highway. It's dark. Trees on either side, and they're driving kind of recklessly along this road at night, and they get into an accident and go off the side of the road. So they are waiting. It is a brother and sister. The sister's boyfriend, and then the sister's female best friend. And so while it's cold, so they put some flares out, and they go start a campfire to stay warm while they're waiting for some help to show up, because they don't want to leave the car, because it's the boyfriend's older brother's car, and he doesn't want to leave it. So while they're waiting, he starts to tell a story, a horror story, a campfire story, to keep him entertained. And there's 3 of them. The first one is about a couple who had just got married. They're on their honeymoon. They are going to drive to Las Vegas and going to make stops along the way. And they stop at a place that is historically something that happened. If you've heard of the Dahmer party, a bunch of people who were like hiking or going someplace, they got stranded, and a bunch of people ate the other people because they were hungry, and only a couple of people left. This happened here, and this is like the second most famous one underneath the Dahmer party. And so the guy's like, I want to check this place out, and female's not too excited about it. And so there's that story about what happens there, and it's really a well done story. Of course, things happen, and they get the warning from a guy who's like, you shouldn't be here, leave, if you come across these people, don't get out of the truck. And of course, shit happens. And then they come back to the group of people. So they've got two other stories. Each one is really well done. And then you've got the overarching story of the people waiting to get, for the police or everything to show up to help them, or whoever to help them in the accident. So you got the three different stories of, what's being told around the fire, and the story of the people in the accident. And it's, it's, none of them are super creepy, but they are, very well done and interesting, and, at the end of each one, it does get kind of creepy. It's not a constant, like say Hell House LLC, where it just builds up, and it's, you have, this is more kind of like a Tales from the Crypt thing, where they get into a situation and then by the end things are just like super messed up and bad things happen. The third one wasn't as good as the first two, meaning the last one, and it does sort of connect with the overall story of the people of the Campfire. But that doesn't mean that it was bad. I mean, overall, this is a really well done movie. The stories are very well written. None of them last too long. Because certain things like this, excuse me, it could be overly long and overly complicated. This just, it sets things up, the things happen, and it gets done. And it doesn't, skip a bunch of stuff so you're like, what the hell's going on? And it doesn't drag on to the point you're like, okay, we get it, this is too long. They're interesting, they're fun, they're really enjoyable, and they are acted very well. I was kind of hesitant to watch it at first because I don't want to review anthology things where it's just a bunch of different things. I want to do one that is over, just one story the whole way through. But this one, it kept coming up on my feed, and I was like, okay, this looks good, let me check it out. And I was glad I did. It's a fun story, or a fun movie with some really good acting, some really good stories. And then there is a connection in the movie to the very first one, which you don't think there would be, because it was, really not mentioned in anything. But, like I said, the acting is really good. Stories are well done. And aside from, James Marsden and Amy Smart at the beginning, There are a couple of actors in this who, if you've watched movies you've seen before, it's just you're like, okay, I've seen this guy before. I just don't know where. Which kind of makes it a little bit more interesting in my opinion. So you have to sit there and watch to the end to sit there and say, okay, who is this guy or girl? But I recommend this movie. It's fun. I didn't stop the movie at all, other than to step up for a smoke. But it didn't kind of drag on. It didn't take. He's going, okay, how much more time? It went by really quick, and it grabs your attention. So I recommend it. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. And say watch it. So anyway, let me know if you've seen it. Let me know what you thought of it. And like, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy your horror movies.